Welcome back to Let's Talk. We have kicked off our spring season here on the show, and our first guest back here is Coach Adrian Shelley for Effort of Baseball. Thanks for giving us a couple of minutes, and as the season really approaches here soon.
Right.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
The first question I have for you, and I know a lot of people are probably thinking this, as we speak right now, there is several inches of snow on War Memorial Field, on everyone's field.
Right.
Is this one of the weirder springs that you've had? I know it's been frustrating for us to cover spring sports, but as a coach, how do you feel about kind of what has happened over the past few weeks of the spring preseason?
Yeah, this kind of jogged my memory back to, I think, 2003. We had a similar situation, but, that's 15 years ago. A lot has changed since then. I remember that season. It was a lot more frustrating. I think, given the fact that we can come into our facility, it's not. We can still get a lot accomplished. It's been a little strange, but at the same point, you learn that the weather is not in our control. So, given that, if we can't write that script, it's not something that we can focus too much energy on. Just got to adapt.
Here's a question for you now. The excitement level, now that spring season is really on the verge of starting, you guys might get pushed back, as will most everybody, a couple days, and you guys are a little bit smarter. You schedule your games kind of start more in April, which I think is pretty smart in Pennsylvania. But what's the excitement level? How are you feeling as we are just days away from this season kicking off?
Right. We would have opened up yesterday. Would we have been ready? I think so, but this certainly gives us a little bit more time to prepare. I'd always like more time. So, there's things that we need to polish. League play starts the beginning of April, and we look at the 20-game schedules. Every single game matters. So, I don't look at these non-league games as something that we just want to try to get out of the way in preparation for leagues. All of these count toward our power rankings and whether or not we make districts or not. So, we're just trying to prepare, each opponent at a time, one game at a time.
I would have to think the excitement level is pretty high for this season. Last year, I think it was maybe 2 seniors that you had. This year, was talking with your coaching staff, a lot more than that, almost 10, and I feel a pretty experienced upper class. What would you say kind of about your team's makeup and the strengths of your squad this year that you have?
Well, I think the biggest thing is what you just touched on, that they have a year's experience under their belt. They had most of them were contributors on the state legion, the state championship squad, so they're battle tested, which is important.
Yeah.
They understand the rigor of the 20-game season. We've added some depth to our pitching staff. So from that standpoint, we're excited, but it's baseball, so anything can happen. You don't expect to win every game. We just, we're not really concerned about the results as much as we're concerned about, having a daily process that keeps us competitive. So we just, we're expecting to have to grind every game out, and so it's a pitch-by-pitch focus.
And you do kind of excel at that. Is that kind of something that you enjoy? It seems like you're kind of one of the coaches in the league that enjoys the grind, enjoys the little details. We've always talked about on the broadcast, Shelley ball. Right. It's kind of our nickname for it. I don't know how they refer to it here in the program, but the small things, the bunting, the steals, the right. defensive stuff. I don't know. But is that something that, how do you feel about
the
that?
Loose change, we call it. That's what we
refer
to it
okay.
as the loose change. Yes, reaching into the cushions for the pennies. Really what it boils down to is we don't like to assign value to any of these things. We don't like to call it small ball or small details. What we refer to all of these things are when they come up in a game, they could be paramount to the outcome. So if you prescribe value to it as being minor or these little things, when they happen and you're not prepared for them, it can cost you. So, we do take pride in that. Our players have learned to embrace that. So, you know, that's something that is going to keep us competitive as long as we maintain a focus and an attention toward those details.
Now, you guys put it all together 2 years ago, won that district title that had been elusive for so many years. How many years have you been the head coach here?
This is 21.
21. Okay, so out of 21, it was that 1 year that you did it, and that was a really senior heavy team, had a lot of just solid guys at all positions. Do you feel like this is a team that is more equivalent to that squad and just, you know, is getting back to that district championship feeling, that game, you know, a major goal this season?
I would say this: if we stick with our processes, you know, I think that the teams that are the most resilient end up being rewarded in the end. You can't fast forward and say, let's plan to make leagues, let's plan to make districts, and forget about the first 20 games.
Okay.
You know, what I was saying before about the non-league games matter. So, you know, opening day matters. All of this, that's why, you know, we do so much planning in the off season, and, you know, we have a lengthy off season program in preparation for this full grind. You know, do I think we have the personnel to get back to that? No, I think it all depends how well they can maintain the focus on the process and not get caught up with trying to, you know, chase another banner.
Well, you have plenty of them, so obviously that's something that your program likes to shoot for, and I'm sure it's a goal for a lot of those guys to get section, league, district, any form of all three of those or one of those. Last question for you. You always seem to have a message for these guys. What would you say is kind of what you're harping on this year so that you guys can be competitive and successful? What is that kind of message to the team?
Yeah, we have a lot of messages going on right now. You know, starting with, you know, trusting yourself. You have to trust yourself before you can start really trusting others. But then once you trust yourself, you can start trusting your teammates, trusting your coaches. We're talking about everything from, you know, trying to eliminate the fear of failure. You know, that cliche that baseball is all about failure is very much true. So how do you get around that? You have to meet it head on, and you have to kind of embrace it for what it is, as a chance to be better the second time around. So one of the things that we're talking about right now is just having fun. Let's have fun playing the game. Let's have fun during this time together. The reason we're here is because of baseball. Baseball's brought us together. What can we learn from that experience? What can we learn from the game, and what can we learn from each other? So that's where we're at right now.
Great. It's a good position to be in, and you guys still have some time to work some things out, so I know you're happy about that. But I really appreciate you coming on,
absolutely,
chatting with us.
Always a pleasure.
We will see you guys on the channel at some point here early in the season. But for now, we're going to step aside, take a break. We will be back here on Let's Talk. Stick with us. We've got a lot more conversations coming up.